Hey, it's Drew Neiser with another Tuesday tip. We've been talking about budgeting and the challenge of 2024. What's it going to be? Who knows really, but we got to get budgets together. So Joy Neely from Medvantx, what's your tip on approaching budgets for 2024?
I think my tip is plan early. So I've already started the planning process with our team and really collaborate cross-functionally to understand what the needs are for the 2024 budget and really understanding what drove opportunities this year across the organization. So that's my tip.
Well, and what I love about this, and I want to just sort of dive in a little bit deeper, is so you being the head of sales and marketing, you could say, well, I could spend a little more on marketing, or I could hire another salesperson. How are you looking at that assessment as you think about budgeting for 2024?
Yeah, so I think for our team, we're really doubling down on some marketing efforts and looking at creative ways to leverage the sales team. So, one thing that we actually did earlier this year was hired a contract sales individual. She actually left when she got another job back in the pharmaceutical industry. But for us, it was great because she helped drive several leads into the pipeline. And I think that's a great way for us to be pretty nimble and flexible and not
Right.
have to hire a full time headcount but be able to do more from a marketing perspective as well. So we're trying to be pretty creative in the way we're approaching things in our organization.
Yeah, the key word I heard was nimbleness, and I think that is really going to be so important. Okay, Grant Johnson, Billtrust. Grant, what's your tip for planning for 2024?
I think the main thing is to review everything you spent dollars on in 2023, see what's been working. While you can't put everything into, you know, pay-per-click SEA, you might want to adjust the mix. And as always, cordon off a certain part of the budget to take advantage of opportunities you can't foresee, to experiment, to iterate and learn, and ultimately try to drive a higher ROI on your total spend.
You know, I'm a big believer in having budget for experimentation and like trying to get it at 10 to 20%. But one of the questions that I have related to that is how do you convince your CFO that you're going to have a budget line item that isn't specifically assigned to something with a specific ROI in mind?
Well, our CFO doesn't manage my line item spend. So
Okay.
fortunately, we adhere to budget, we share results, and I have the latitude with the experience to test. And, you know, if it doesn't work, stop doing it. If it
Right.
works really well, put more money in. That's simple.
Right. And you have a sort of a formula that you use to think about ROI in the spend, right? And I don't know if you want to share that, but
For us, it should be 5 to 1. If you spend $1,000, you generate 5,000 revenue. You know, you certainly shouldn't be negative, but it's got to be some level of a multiple. And that's why a best case to get more investment when you can prove that.
right. What I love about the clarity of that is you can sit in front of your CEO, spending 100, delivering 500. That's math that they can understand. Okay, Katrina, Klier, Sage Strategy. Katrina, what is your tip when it comes to budgeting for the next year?
Well, I always like to start with the bigger picture company strategy and then pick my places that I think marketing can drive the most impact there. And then that gives you a really good foundational set of information, if you will, to drive alignment across sales, alignment across product. And then it gives you, again, a framework that you can go back and say, this is why I'm going to invest here and not there. And that's why the budget for BDRs or whatever it is needs to be this instead of that. Or we're going to up our events because given this strategy, we know that these events work based on our history of different things. So I like to start there and then work down and then get your data and work back up, meet it in the middle, and then make sure you shop it to your peers so that you're aligned. And it just makes it a lot easier downstream when you have to inevitably make those hard trade-offs of what you're going to pick over something else.
All right. Well, I heard two big things right there from Katrina. One is obviously there's a strategy here involved. We have an outcome that we're going to try to do. And two, build alignment and get your team, particularly sales, aligned so that they also recognize the value. Okay. Well, if you're a B2B CMO who can share, care, and dare with the best of them, do yourself a favor and check out CMOHuddles.com. We even have a free starter program. I'm Drew Neiser. That's your Tuesday tip. Peace out.